Buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches, depende de la hora que me estés escuchando. Soy Susi Goitia y hoy en esta grabación de podcast Creer para Crecer tengo un invitado súper especial, Giuseppe Stigliano, que además viene a México el próximo 26 de mayo y va a estar dando conferencia en México, pero hoy vamos a hablar de cómo liderar, transformar y conectar en un mundo post-digital. Además que vamos a hablar de muchas tendencias del retail, de marketing, pero lo interesante es que el futuro ya no se trata de optimizar lo que teníamos porque el mundo cambió. Se trata de reinventar todo lo que podemos ser y todas las posibilidades que tenemos en la mano. Y bueno, me acompaña Giuseppe, que está redefiniendo la forma en que las empresas conectan con sus clientes, con sus líderes y sobre todo con el futuro. Y para hacer una presentación cortita, porque le voy a pedir a él que se presente, Giuseppe ha sido 3 veces CEO de agencias globales, PhD en marketing y economía, autor de 3 libros con Philip Kotler, y quédate porque vamos a preguntarle cómo se hace para escribir un libro con Kotler, pero es top voice de LinkedIn, asesor de marcas como Google, Coca-Cola, que conozco bien, BMW, y fue reconocido en el 2024 como Thinker 50, como una de las mentes que está modelando el pensamiento empresarial global. Y viene a México, así que lo vamos a poder tener en México en vivo y en directo próximamente, pero hoy lo tengo en exclusiva, sin filtro, en Creer para Crecer. Bienvenido, Giuseppe. I want you to introduce yourself.
Muchas gracias por tu invitación. Como sabes, mi español no es bastante bueno, todavía no, pero voy a hablar inglés. Y thanks for having me. It's such a great pleasure. I'm going back to Mexico after 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Last time I was there was 20 years ago. And I remember spending 3 times with my backpack, traveling all over the country. And I fell in love. And for some reason, I didn't have a chance to come back. So I'm so happy that I have this chance to speak at the CMO Summit in less than 10 days. Actually, it's 10 days from today. 10 days from today. And I'll be spending 1 week in Mexico City. So I'll have plenty of chances to network and to meet people. So I'm super excited. Having said that, you've said most of what is my background. I like to call myself a marketing nerd. Oh. I'm a marketing nerd just because I love marketing. I love what marketing really means. Just to be clear, I don't think marketing is about making people want things. I think marketing is about making things people want, which is a big difference, right? It's just, it looks like playing with words, but it's a big difference.
But love it, yes.
It's not about pushing. It's not about waking up in the morning and asking yourself, what else can we make and sell? How can we push this product? How can we convince people to buy? That's an abuse to something that was born to create value. And so the right question is, what else can we do for the customer? Is this product aligned with customer desire and expectations? Are we adding value? Are we simplifying the life of the customer? These are the right questions. And this is especially true in a world where sustainability matters, where instead of launching yet another product, we should ask ourselves what makes sense to introduce to the market, and so on and so forth. So this is my vision. This is the vision I married. And this is the vision of Philip Kotler, who is my co-author. Well, actually, I am his co-author. He has wrote 65 books, translated into 35 plus languages. He is 94. I'm 44, so he's 50 years older than me. And we've been working together for the last 7 years. We have published our first book together in 2018. And it's been a ride since, because we published 3 books and the books got translated into 12 languages. So our books are available in Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, Russian, Turkish, Polish, French, Spanish, Italian, English, of course, you name it. And that gave me such an incredible opportunity to travel the world and to share my perspective, my experience as an executive and as an academic. So I have this I'm a hybrid between the two words. I got a PhD. I still teach, but I've been a CEO for the last 10 years, running marketing companies and serving global clients. So I always try to share what I learn in the real world and try to distill some guiding principles that then I share with my audiences. I think my mission in life is more than management, or is compartir conocimiento, como decimos en español, in the sense that that's my mission. That's what I really want to do. My natural inclination is to pack everything that happens to me and what I've learned and the mistakes I've made and the things I have experienced and the projects I've worked on, and just simplify and make it accessible for an audience, trying to be customer centric. So trying to make something that is relevant for the audience. So this is me.
I love it. And I have two questions for you, but I will start with something that everyone is wondering. How you get to write books with Philip Kotler? I mean, there's a great story behind that. So what's behind that collaboration? Tell us more of what happened and how did you start doing this and what you have learned from him.
I've learned from him to stay curious, even if you are 94, to stay sharp, to stay up to date, and to stay humble.
Amazing.
He's insanely humble and approachable and open to new stimuli and new ideas, and he's very happy to question his own ideas and to be contaminated, let's say, by different perspectives. However, is very opinionated, is super sharp. During the preparation of the last book, he would ask me questions like, what do you think about the metaverse? What do you think about the virtual world? Do you think this is going to impact the customer journey? And you don't expect such questions coming from
Yeah.
someone who is 94. The
Yeah.
reality is that he keeps reading and studying and nurturing himself with everything and anything marketing related. So yeah, for a marketing nerd like me who has studied marketing, specialized in marketing, PhD in marketing, teaches marketing, has run marketing companies, it's just the dream of a life. How
Yeah.
did I end up writing books with him? Do you remember the movie Sliding Doors?
Yes.
I don't know how the sliding. I don't know the translation of that in Spanish. I don't know how the sliding door moment would translate in Spanish. Is there a translation for that?
Like maybe puertas que se corren, like sliding doors.
Okay.
Is like
Yeah.
I don't know if the movie was translated exactly with
Okay.
that word, but that is
Okay.
like the
But it's this
translation.
idea that if you get there before the doors close, you
Yeah.
go somewhere. If you don't, you stay. And that is a sliding door moment, because if you jump on that train, maybe you meet someone, you speak with someone, that someone introduces you to someone else and changes your life. If you stay there, maybe you get, I don't know, you get robbed. Maybe that disrupts your life. Maybe you get late to an important appointment, whatever. But that sliding door concept is what the best way to describe and summarize what happened between Professor Kotler and I. I was one of the speakers in 2017, I think. One of the speakers at the Philip Kotler Marketing Forum, which is basically his format, his event. And he used to travel the world with this event, right? So each country had a curator, and that curator was in charge of the lineup of speakers, the organization, the ticketing, and everything. And he would show up typically on day one to give the master class and the lecture and the lectio magistralis, as we say, and the keynote. And then all the speakers, like tier one speakers, would be in the afternoon, tier two speakers in day two. And I was probably tier four speaker at some point before the end of the conference. And of course, I was not expecting that he would pay attention to me. However, I was so proud to be there and to be one of the speakers. So I gave my talk, and I was very, very anxious. And he was in the room. He listened to me, and after the talk, he came and said, "Congratulations, you did a great job." And I couldn't believe it. I was so excited and so happy. And I think these were the best 80 seconds of my life. I say 80 seconds because after 80 seconds, more or less, I realized that he was saying congratulations to all the speakers, basically. So it was not to me. Congratulations
Yeah.
to all the
Yeah.
speakers.
Yeah.
So, but still, you shake hands with your idol, you're there, and still happy. And then a few hours later, I helped someone who was working with him, just helped someone who was like dealing with some boxes with some copies of his book signed. And that person was basically the assistant of Professor Kotler. And then she was kind enough to tell me, "Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Are you having dinner with us tonight?" And I said, "Of course I'm having dinner with you. This is my once in a lifetime opportunity to have dinner with Professor Kotler." And all the
Yeah.
speakers were invited, of course. And she asked me, "Do you have a car?" Now, my car was parked right in front of the venue. And I realized the situation, and I said, "Nope, nope." And she said, "Do you want a lift? It's raining outside. It would take you ages before you find a taxi. Why don't you come with us?" And I said, "Sure." And so I ended up being in a car, in the back of the car with Professor Kotler, a driver and his assistant sitting in the front. And it was just the two of us. It was raining outside. And she told him, "I asked Giuseppe to come with us because it's raining and he's going to the same place. I hope you don't mind." And he said, "Of course I don't mind." And here we are, Professor Kotler and I, sitting in the back of a black car, going to a restaurant, and I played all my cards to convince him that I deserved some sort of attention. And by the time we got there, we were like friends, let's say. He adopted me, I always say. He became my mentor. He gave me a business card, and he said, "You should write a book. Let's talk more." And then it's how everything started.
The power of being ready in the right moment with the right person, right? And then to be prepared. That's amazing. But Giuseppe, you talk about a lot about in your conference about retail trends and trends shaping the future of retail. What do you think about the retail future in Latin America?
So I think this is one of those moments in history in which humans, leaders, managers fail to understand the magnitude of the transformation we're going to go through. And I know it sounds like a
It's true.
big
It's true.
statement, and
Yes, it's
everybody's
true.
telling that, but let me give you my view on this. I spent the
Yes.
last 25 years working with companies, trying to help them getting the most out of the so-called digital transformation. Okay, so digital transformation was a big deal. The
Yeah.
computer, the internet, it was a big deal. Why? Because it was not a tool; it was an enabler. It was not yet another technology. It was what we typically call a GPT, which stands for General Purpose Technology. When you deal with a GPT, you deal with things like electricity, the internet, the steam engine, enablers of transformation that have an impact on society, on the economy, on the business. That is not the impact of the technology per se. It's the impact related to what that technology can unlock in the following years. Okay? Why this is different? Why this is a moment in which I believe it will be bigger and exponentially bigger? First, because it's not one GPT in this moment. It's not the internet, the steam engine, or the computer or electricity. There are at least 6 GPTs, so general purpose technologies, tecnologías de uso general, that are emerging, and they all reached a maturity point, and they are very prone to combine with each other. And so the effect is the effect of 6 GPTs combining with each other at the speed of an algorithm. So not only
Yes.
the magnitude, but also the speed at which it will be deployed is impossible to understand. We're talking about artificial intelligence, of course.
Of course.
We're talking about augmented reality, virtual reality. We're talking about robotics. We're talking about Internet of Things or connected objects. We're talking about cloud computing. We're talking about 3D printing. We're talking about a number of GPTs that will enable a number of transformations in every field, and they're all there at the same time, and they will combine with each other. So you will have, for example, AI combined with virtual reality, and you will have virtual humans in the customer service. You will have a
Yes.
virtual human, whatever shape you want, speaking 35 languages. They never sleep. They don't eat. They don't go on holidays. They're always there. They
They
can
don't
be
get sick.
trained with, they don't get sick. They can be trained with 20,000 hours of recordings from your customer service. Sorry. And they instantly are 1,000 times better than any call center operator. It's just the way it is. And it's 2 technologies combining, right? It's the AI, so all the natural language processing, the machine learning, and the ability to build answers and concepts merged with AI. If you merge AI with robots, you will probably have robots cleaning our houses, learning from the interaction with us, taking calls for us. I don't know, doing things. Imagine the impact in the logistics of a retailer. Imagine the impact on a number of activities that are currently performed by humans, where humans add basically no value, and that can be substituted, and hopefully humans can be dedicated to other activities. So this is going to happen in the next 3 years. And so to answer your question, I think in the next 3 years, we will see this exponential impact. Of course, I'm not saying that in the next 3 years, the world of retail will change, because it doesn't happen overnight. And there are some infrastructures, and there are elderly people who will be slow to embrace it, and so on and so forth. But in the next 3 years, I believe retailers everywhere in the world, including LATAM in general and Mexico in particular, need to take a position. What do you want to delegate to machines? What do you want to keep in human hands? This is the decision. Then everything else, it will take time, you will do the rollout, but the decision needs to be taken, because that is how you build your value proposition, your competitive advantage, how you distinguish yourself from competitors, and how you interact with your customers. If you tell your customers, we will stay human for every single activity that is related to whatever, and we will delegate to technology everything that happens behind the scenes. So you can expect from us that we will have robots in the back end, in the factory, in the warehouse, in the logistics, but you won't see a robot working in our stores, because we strongly believe the interaction between human beings is what we believe in and what is core to our value proposition. This is a bold statement. You will have a lot of efficiency in the back end and a lot of inefficiency in the store. It's your choice, but you build your competitive advantage on that and you keep going. But the decision needs to be taken now. You cannot wait and see and decide in 3 years, because it will be too late. The cost to catch up with the competitors will be too high. And as I said in one of my recent talks, this will make the difference between éxito y extinción. So it's a boldest decision that everybody needs to make in the next 3 years.
And for leaders of companies that are, listening to this and watching this, the streaming, what would you say will be the baby steps? I mean, I own a company, I'm looking at this and I listen to you and I said, oh my God, what should I be doing?
Yeah.
Like baby steps, 3 tips for,
Yeah.
catch that trend, for my company.
So the baby steps per se are what I typically do when I do workshops with companies. We have 6 areas, from customer segmentation to the maturity assessment in terms of the technology stack or the digital alphabetization of your people, your team, what the competitors are doing, and a bunch of other things. And I have 6 sessions, and each and every section I have probably 10 questions, which is a maturity assessment, and then I build from there. So it's the the baby steps that you mentioned. In terms of 3 tips, I'll tell you the 3 things that I believe retailers should not only understand but master in the next 3 years. First, understanding that this is not about AI, this is not one technology, let alone a tool. This is the convergence of a number of enablers, or if you want, a number of tecnologías de uso general. Okay? If you understand this, you will act accordingly, avoiding going all in on AI, all in on robotics, all in on whatever, and you will understand that it's not about the technology per se, it's about the combination of them. So you will start thinking in terms of, okay, what is the exponential impact that I can unlock for my organization as a result of the combination of these technologies, instead of let me invest heavily to buy robots, which is the old school reaction to innovation, when you buy, I don't know, new laptops and it's done. I have new laptops, so it's done. It's not, it doesn't work like that. So first thing to get is it's a number of GPTs. We need to understand how they combine and what they can do for us. 2, if this is true, the customer journey will change forever. We're currently dealing with a customer journey that we define phygital. Although in grocery retail, for example, the percentage of e-commerce is very small, we now know very well that in the equilibrium of the journey, digital touchpoints, including social networks and e-commerce websites and content platforms and edutainment content and so on and so forth, they still play a role in the journey, influencing customer behavior. Although the transaction happens online, the influence and the impact should be attributed, at least co-attributed, to a number of other touch points. However, retailers were struggling to understand this phygital thing because it's hard to measure, it's hard to attribute, because retailers are about location, location, location. So when there is no location and it's virtual and it's in the air, you don't get it. So phygital was hard. I argue that that combination of technologies will change the customer journey. And so phygital, although complicated, is no longer enough. It won't be phygital. The customer journey will be 3-dimensional: physical, digital, and virtual. Meaning these virtual humans, these Roblox video games where our kids play, these, I don't know, immersive situations in which people get familiar with brands, they will become the norm. There's a huge list of retailers who are already experimenting with this, from IKEA that is using virtual reality for the training, and before they hire people, they help them visualize what they should do, to how to build what you need to build in the real world in a virtual environment. There are examples of Walmart building a gaming platform where customers can play, and if they win a coupon that they can then redeem in a physical store. So this virtual dimension is here to stay, and 84% of Gen Z, meaning people aged between 15 and 30, so they're not that young, 84%, they declare that they're happy to buy for themselves something that they have both for their avatars.
Wow.
So this is happening. It's now. And in the next 3 years, it will become the norm. So if we fail to understand that part of the journey will be virtual, I'm not saying that will have an impact, direct impact on the bottom line. I'm not saying you will sell products for avatars. Maybe yes, but it's not the point. The point is, if most of the brands that you sell, dear retailer, in your stores, if your competitors, if the brands that you don't sell but are setting the bar of expectations of your customer are playing in the virtual world, either you adapt or you extinguish. So point number one, it's the confluence of a number of technologies. Point number two, the customer journey is three-dimensional: physical, digital, and virtual. We need to build tools to understand this 3D customer journey. Number three, if the second is true and the first is true, the third is, do we really think in a 3D customer journey disrupted by 6 exponential technologies, we can do a seamless, omni-channel, frictionless strategy? Are you kidding me? Omni-channel was already a nightmare in a phygital world after 25 years of internet with fairly high maturity, where we understood quite well how it worked. It was a nightmare because of the system integration, because of the attribution, because of the fast changing pace of whatever new social networks, different social networks in different geographies, and how to connect digital and physical, and a bunch of other reasons. It was already a nightmare. So omnichannel was not a reality. Most of the clients I work with, they start with the idea of being everywhere because we need to meet customers where they are. And so omnipresence and then seamless. This is the two pillars of omnichannel are omnipresence and seamless integration. I do believe system integration is a great North Star and we should aim for that. But omnipresence, it's absolutely something to avoid. It's a killer strategy. It leads to what I call spray and pray. When you spray some budget on every single channel and then you pray that one of them will work. It's not a strategy. It's guessing. I'd rather suggest, in a world disrupted by technology, driver number one, where the customer journey is three-dimensional, driver number two, that driver number three is what I call Opti-Channel. The optimization of the available channels spread across digital, physical, and virtual dimensions. And I argue that the company should decide what is the right channel. So, for example, I don't know, Traders Joe in the US, they're in the top 5 of revenue per square meter. They don't sell online. They don't do e-commerce. They don't do social network. Why? Because they have decided, instead of spray and pray, to focus on customer experience, selection of the assortment, high rotation, training of the people in the store. IKEA, they have a wonderful technology for augmented reality that you can basically see a table and some chairs or a wardrobe in your room. Of course, they could deploy that technology on every single touch point. They don't do it. They only deploy it in one touch point, which is their app. The reason they do that is because they know they can get the best experience. They don't want to deal with system integration. They don't want to deal with people who complain because it's not reliable. And there they can control reliability, they can collect data, and they can improve the experience. They do it there. So let alone all the brands who are giving up their presence on social media, like, I don't know, Lush, for example, they have decided they don't want to be there, and so on and so forth. So Opti-Channel is about optimizing, starting from my resources, starting from the capabilities of my team, starting from my objective, starting from what my competitors are doing, what other brands my competitors are doing, what my customers might want, and then I decide. It's the opposite of let's try and be everywhere, spray and pray. It's way more logical if you think. So these are the three things. Convergence of technologies, customer journey three-dimensional, and last but not least, Opti-Channel.
I love that concept, that Opti-Channel concept. I read that on your book, Retail 4.0. That is an amazing book. And I found very useful because nowadays you don't have all the resources to go and love the spray and pray. You know, you need to be very targeted and very, results oriented.
Yeah,
So love that. And thank you for sharing that. You know that
pleasure.
this podcast name is Creer para Crecer, which in English is believe for grow. So I need to ask you, because this is an iconic question. What is growth for you? What does growth mean for you?
Leaving every room better than how I found it.
Love it.
That's what I live for. If every time I speak with someone, every time that I give a talk, every time I'm in a meeting room, every time I am in a lecture room, I can leave that room better, meaning a good exchange of value, some good interaction, some food for thought. And it's not about me delivering this; it's really an exchange, right? Sometimes it's me. I mean, leaving the room means that I'm feeling enriched, right? It's not necessarily delivering content; it's really an exchange. But that is my north star. I always ask myself when I finish something, I always ask myself, am I adding value? Am I leaving this room better? If the answer is no, I question myself. I say, okay, I should do better.
That's great, and it's amazing. And I'm just looking at the time, and it's already 31 minutes. So it's been a
Ooh.
great conversation. So thank you very much. One last message to the audience. I mean, last message for leaders in Latin America that are watching this and wondering, whoa, I really love this talk, but what should I do next?
Well, it would be too easy to say, get in contact with me and let's talk. But this is really my life. I like speaking with business leaders and explore synergies and put them in contact with people I know and meet them. This is really my life. It's my life is about compartir conocimiento, ¿no? Como te decía antes.
We share that.
So
We share that.
this will be the default answer. The reality is that I also know many people who are doing a very good job in sharing knowledge, including very good newsletters, very good podcasts, including yours, of course. So
Thank you.
my recommendation is literally make sure you don't sit down. This world changes faster than our ability to evolve. And this is tough because this is not the way we've been raised. We've been raised thinking that you learn something, you develop your experience, and you will build on that experience for the rest of your life. This looks more like Lego bricks than deep foundations, this word. So I think we should just unlearn some of the stuff we've been indoctrinated with and relearn, of course, like Lego bricks. So I'm not saying that we need to build on the past. We need to build with the past, but like Lego bricks, so we can change the shape and the color as we go, because this word is interesting. And whoever tells you that they know where this word is going and they are 100% certain that you should do this, this, and that, they're foolish.
Yeah, that is so true. But well, it's been an amazing conversation. Thank you very much. And a ti que estás del otro lado y que estás viendo esta conversación, si algo te resonó, si algo te movió, compártela. Y te voy a dejar los datos de Giuseppe por si lo quieres conectar o conversar. Y ahora que viene a México y que va a estar viniendo a Latinoamérica, porque no puedes olvidar que el futuro es ahora. El futuro es el presente y tú necesitas liderar el futuro y tomar la decisión de qué es lo que quieres hacer con tu vida y con tu empresa. Y si te gustó este capítulo, nos vemos en el próximo episodio de Creer para Crecer, donde seguiremos entrevistando y aprendiendo de gente que, como Giuseppe, está compartiendo conocimiento. Así que, Giuseppe, muchas gracias. Ha sido un gusto. Maybe
Un
you can
gusto.
say
Muchas
goodbye in
gracias.
Spanish.
Claro que sí, claro que sí. Bueno, es que la realidad es que no me gusta hablar inglés. Si fuera yo hablaría español todo el tiempo. Es que todavía no tengo un dominio suficiente. Pero la próxima charla, la próxima conversación la hacemos en español, te prometo.
That would be amazing. Bueno, y a todos los que nos vieron hasta acá, hasta luego. Nos vemos en el
Hasta
siguiente
luego.
capítulo y nos vemos con más conocimiento.
Gracias.